Genesis of the India-China conflict dates back to 1962 to what was known as the Sino-Indian War. The trigger at that time as well was the Galwan Valley.
Galwan was the flashpoint of the Sino-Indian War of 1962. One of the main triggers of the war was the construction of a highway through Xinjiang and Tibet, now known as G129. A part of the road passes through Aksai Chin in Indian territory. Galwan was occupied on July 5, 1962 by India, moving the 1-8 Gurkha rifles to a post overlooking the Galwan River. There were protests from the Chinese culminating in an attack. On October 20th, China attacked Indian posts in Ladakh. The Galwan post was taken by the Chinese. So Galwan has a historical role in the Sino-Indian conflict. Why is it so important? It's close to the strategic Darbuk-Shylock-Daulat Beg Oldie Road, which is vital for troops deployed in the north sub-sector. The road is close to the Karakoram Pass and gives India a military advantage in access. The last time India and China exchanged fire at the border was in 1967 in Sikkim. There are differing versions on how the fight started. China had already occupied Tibet and was eyeing Sikkim, at that time an Indian protectorate. China started digging ditches along the border, moving into Indian territory. To block China, India started fencing work in the sector, erecting pickets from Nathula to Sebula. China objected and moved to stop the wire fencing on September 11th. Exchange of fire began at Nathula 3 days later. Over 80 Indian soldiers and an estimated 300 to 400 Chinese troops were killed.
And I'm reminded about 1967. I was reading very deeply on that book, on that situation and the event. It almost seems something quite similar. Although at that time it was very, very clear that we had taken a decision and that we would go ahead with the fencing at the Nathula post, and despite everything, we went ahead with it.
The last time Indian soldiers were killed by the Chinese was in 1975, 5 months after the Sikkim referendum to become part of India. 4 soldiers of the Assam Rifles were ambushed at Tulungla in Arunachal Pradesh while on patrol.
And now a quick look at the top stories making headlines this hour.